right, so I got to tell you, I don't know why, after missing a week, I really missed this. Missed all you guys. I know it's hard to believe, even my wife. I missed her. And I got to tell you, I get it. I was excited about coming to church tonight. I mean, so I'm just kind of, if I'm coming unglued, I miss this. I'm excited. I apologize. I'm excited. So that's the message. It's going to be called, Are you excited? And you should be. This is a great place to be. So, I'm excited because we can come here, pray, worship, and ask God, and He answers. So here's one thing I just started praying. And it was for a family member who's really been going through a tough time in their job. And I mean, I won't go in and explain everything, but it's been really tough. And they call and they talk to me, and I just started praying for them. Well, that was about 2 weeks ago. Today they called me to tell me the good thing that happened to them today at work. And I was like, So I said, well, that's good. And I said, I've been praying for you. So I knew something would happen, and I've been praying kind of like I did for me, that you either move this person away from them or find them a new job. Well, they got a compliment, and they got a nice bonus check. And that, I believe, is because of God, because the attitude was completely different. That's what we've got at our disposal at any time. So when we sit here, sometimes I think, and I've been guilty of it, we come to this church and we're tired. It's the end of the week and we're not excited about being here. We got God as our dad. That's pretty incredible. The creator of the universe is our Father. It doesn't get any better unless you're married to me. I did that for my wife. I know. She's like, there you go. I'm kidding. You know that's a joke. Trust me, it's no picnic with me. But look at James 1:17. Actually, you guys can just put it up there. And I'm going to do a little more. This message is just going to be like to try to stir you up. This message is going to be, Pastor always says this, and this is kind of how I feel tonight. You're talking to your friends or your family tonight. Okay? So that's what we're doing. If you want to turn to things, you can. But here's what it says. James says, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no change or shifting shadow. Now I'm reading some from the Marine Study Bible, but there's a couple of things I like to read because they really explain it real well. But anyway, every good thing comes from Him. Well, that's where we go for all the good things you want. Now, if you want bad things, then you know who to pray to. Okay? I'm pretty sure nobody here wants that. So all the good things come from God. Why would we not get excited? How do we not walk through the doors and just get jacked? Think about the first time you came here, or you went to church, or the first time you went to Rhema, and then you saw all these like-minded people. Music playing, you're worshiping. It's kind of cool. That's what we have every week, and we should be fired up about it. And so, last week was an extremely busy week. And it was nonstop. And it was to the point of exhaustion for me. And I won't go into everything, but I was absolutely beat. I told Pastor on the way home, just driving home from Wisconsin, I pulled into a gas station parking lot. I've never done this for such a short ride. It's only 6 hours. And I slept for about 20 minutes. It's light out. My eyes were closing as I was driving. That's when you know you're done, man. And I was at that point. And so, I really wanted to be here, but as I was sitting there, that word of Pastor's came into my head where the Lord had told them, You're going to have to rest. And I went, oh, yes. I just figured that's what this was. So I did, as you know. But I really wanted to come, and I wanted to come because I know this is my answer. All these, I will tell you, for 2024, I've been praying that this is an awesome year. And so far, it's been a good year. 1 month down, 11 to go. And I expect it to be a great year. I expect, and I'll just tell you, I am asking God, I want to give a certain amount this year. I want to give more than I've ever given, and I have a certain amount in mind, and I've asked Him, and it's going to happen. See, these guys got to get to these guys. I mean, they're lost without them. No, I'm kidding. They actually do a great job. But they have got to get there. There's so many people that depend on it. We get it every week. We're spoiled. But we should be excited. Right? So it's one of the reasons that I want to stir you up, because you can't forget that. What you got here is a treasure. And, you know, I will tell you, we should be excited like this. And how are you going to attract people if you're not excited about this? How do you get people to go, wow, I want what he's got? You know, I have guys come up to me at the gym. This just happened recently. And now I've used this line probably about 6 times, and I love it because it really gets their attention. But I had the one guy say, he says, yeah, man, I drive 20 minutes because I just absolutely love this gym. I said, do you? He goes, yeah. He goes, do you live close? I said, no, I'm 45 minutes. He goes, you drive 45 minutes to the gym? I said, I'm going to tell you something. I will drive a long way for a good gym, a good church, and a good restaurant. Now, you know what's funny? 2 out of the 3 is where most people are. They get off at the good church. But if you told somebody that lived in, you know, I don't know, let's say they lived in out west, beyond me, Union, and you said, hey, there is a great place to eat in the city, they would go. I promise you, you'd go. Now, why will you go to that, but you won't go see God who gave you the food, who gave you the blessing to buy the food? So I use that now, and it's really funny. I love watching their face, and now I kind of hone in on their eyes. When I say, I'll drive a long way for a good gym, they're like, oh yeah, I'm with them. And I said, and a good church, and they go like, you know, you can see huh? And a good restaurant, oh yeah, I'm back in with you now, okay? But that's how it is. And so I'm excited when I think about this. So I've already asked a couple people, you guys got to come to our church. There's this young guy, he's awesome. He's about 22, and I was talking to him about God. He went through a rough time, but this kid is 22, and he is powerful. He showed me him deadlifting. He weighs 210 pounds, and he pulled 730 pounds. And I went, he goes, so I just got this, and I'm watching the video. I go, punk, that's nothing. No, that's a pull. Trust me. And so I got him thinking about it. He actually had his Bible in the gym. He was reading it there. I went, get out. And then the owner of the gym, who Mel knows too, I said, hey man, you got to come sometime. I said, you know, coming up, we've got some friends in. Maybe you need to come meet them. I want them to come. I want them to know what we know, because I'm excited. So you have to stir yourself. The Bible says you keep stirring yourself up. So we have to stir ourselves. We have to get excited. We serve, like I said, the Creator of the whole world. And you know, the Bible says we're heirs of His. So look at Romans 8, 16 and 17. It'll be up here. Just look with me. It says, the Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children. Okay, so we're God's children. And if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ, if indeed we suffer with Him, so that we may also be glorified with Him. We are co-heirs. You realize that? Our inheritance is His. Whatever He has is ours. That's what we get. Do you think God walks around down? Do you think God doesn't like the idea of church? I'm pretty sure he invented it. So we should be excited about this. And he is our dad. And I like this, Matthew 7:11. Remember this. So if you who are evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? Okay, so then he's your supply. He's the answer to all your prayers. My dad and me as a father, when Cole comes to me, I want to give him what I can. He's a great kid. And you know, it's funny, he just told me this. So he sent us a picture of him and the whole team, big circle. He's getting a big group now. After the game, I showed it to pastors. And they all kneel down, and they all put their arms around each other on the ice after the game, and they pray. I said, do you ever lead the prayer? He goes, I lead the prayer every time, Dad. I go, that's awesome. They all want in. So what's funny is when the coach said, hey, don't do that again with those teammates. And Cole said, okay. Now everybody's jumping in. This is catchy. Why? Because it's real. Why? Because he answers your prayers. What do you want? He'll give it to you. For example, think about this. Exodus. And you can read this on your own, 16:3 through 4. When they needed meat and bread. What does God do? They come out, there's quail on the ground, there's manna on the ground, they got food. They're all griping and complaining. So God delivers it. What about Numbers 20:10 through 11? Moses strikes the rock. Water comes flowing out. Now, if you talk to people, they're like, oh, you believe that happened? Yes. Yep. How can you believe that? Well, because he's God, he's not man. It's that simple. If that's not good enough, so he provided your food, he provided your water, what about your protection? What about in Daniel 3:15 through 17? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And Nebuchadnezzar says, you're going to bow to me. And they're like, no, actually, king, we're not. And if you throw us in the furnace, he'll protect us. So, and you know the story. He protected them. He's your protection. He's your provision. He's your healing. Just think about the New Testament. Jesus went about preaching and healing. Went from town to town, laid hands on the sick, they recovered. Healed the blind, healed the leprous, healed the crippled, raised the dead. What, do you need anything else? I love when I read this a few weeks ago and preached it, I love that they're at the wedding. They're out of wine. He goes, yeah, go get all the pots, fill them to the brim. Every time I think of that, I'm like, he didn't say fill them up. He said fill them to the brim. That's God. Bible says he's God of more than enough. Why would we not get excited? So if that's not enough, I was reading about this. Now think about this. Jesus came down from heaven, gave up the power he had for us, was beaten, punched, had his beard pulled out, humiliated, beaten bloody, just whipped bloody, had to carry a cross up the hill where they would nail him to it and crucify him. So I started thinking about that cross, and I started thinking about how far was that? And the reason I got to thinking about it was I'm talking to this young guy in the gym, and he's getting ready, just enlisted in the Army. And he wants to go into the Green Berets. And he says, yeah, I guess what they make you do is you have your rucksack and you put 80 pounds in it, and you have to hike 20 miles with the extra 80. And I thought, now think about this. They're going to be fed, they're going to get some rest, and they're going to go do this. Now the cross, they estimate, it's usually made of, they said, either pine or oak, some solid wood, would have to be at least 300 pounds. But it says that they believe he really just carried the cross beam, which they estimate to be 75 to 125 pounds. Now, this is all speculation. We don't know, right? We do know that Simon was there and had to help him carry it. This is after he was punched, whipped, beaten. And then I'm reading that they made him walk through the city of Jerusalem, and the purpose was to humiliate him. And they say that they don't know the distance, but somewhere between 1/3 of a mile and 1.5 miles. So you got a big disparity there, but even 1/3 of a mile after he was completely beaten bloody, what do you suppose that would be like? Would you have any energy left? It's that bad. And he did that so we don't taste permanent death. Like pastors always said, if that's all he did, and when I'm not making light of it like that's all, but if that's all he did for us and didn't supply anything else, it would be enough. But he didn't stop there. You're hungry? He gives you bread. The woman that had nothing but a little oil left. And the jar kept filling and filling and filling and filling. What can he do? What won't he do for you? Why do we come in not completely jacked up to be here? Ready to worship and have fun. We serve the God of the universe. And in case you didn't know, we have a phenomenal church. And I'm not saying this because they're here or he's sitting there. We have a great church. And I'll tell you one of the reasons I know. Because all my friends that have gone all their life call me to ask Bible questions. And I'm thinking the very first time that stuff started to happen, I started going, well, wait a minute. Haven't you gone for 40 years? We go to a pretty good church, man. We have, and he doesn't let this stuff get to him, we have a phenomenal teacher. There's other churches that are good, but there isn't. We're going to find out. You're going to find out. I know that we have one of the best churches around. Now, I've already had certain dreams that I saw him a certain way, and I know what the way he is. I know what God says about him to a degree. Not all. I don't know everything. But he's totally committed. And the reason I know, and I always tell this story, but it's just too good because I was so clueless. But I kept looking for the chink in his armor when I started. I'm looking for where he goes, well, he gives in on something. Or he's, well, I don't know if, that will really happen. And I kept looking for it. Why? Because I was a doubting Thomas. Because I didn't grow up in church. I didn't know anything. And then the one day, he said, I knew something was wrong. I've always done it this way and always got my answer. And I'm not going to go into the story, but I went, wow, this dude really believes this. I'd been coming here 2.5 years or so, 3 years. And I was like, I was still looking to see, all right, he doesn't 100%. As the kids say, 100%. But I'm going to tell you something. And the reason I tell that is, when I finally understood that, my believer went 100%. He believes this. Okay, I'm in with you, man. You're a little slow, Kilcrece. It's only been 3 years. Come on up. That's where we're at. That's the church we go to. We should be completely excited. And if you haven't, and if you've been a little run down because it's tough, stir yourself up. Get excited, and that'll help pull other people in. Amen? That's all I got tonight.